Feeling so many feelings. Good afternoon. Today we're going to talk about all the different emotions and feelings that one buyer may feel during the home buying process. It's absolutely ridiculous how many there are when I was going through them. I got to go fast today. So that's what we're going to do. I don't have anything for you to see, but I have my notes. And so I'm going to go to them now and let's get started. So the idea here is that we're in a competitive market and you shouldn't let your emotions get the better of you. And I agree with that up to a certain point, but let's take a look at the range of emotions one may go through in the home buying process. It's actually pretty intense. So I split them up into 5 things and then individual to that. So here we go. So the first one is enjoyment. So happiness. You may feel happiness a few times during the home buying process. The happiest you should feel is when you finally get the keys to your new home. Relief. The relief comes when you start working with an agent you can trust. And then again, when you have a home inspector go through the house and things look good. Contentment. There's nothing like the feeling of waking up in your new house the first night you stay in it. It is something else. Joy. Joy comes into play a few times during the process. Finding a house you'd actually like to make an offer on, getting a house under contract, getting the keys, that's all joy. Pride. It's kind of fun to watch people who buy houses start to work on them, clean them up, and make improvements. The sense of pride during this time is high, and it shows. Excitement. I feel the sense of excitement never stops from the moment you decide you're going to buy your home to the time when you move in. There's just this energy, there's this optimism, and there's this excitement. Peace. I don't see a lot of peace during the home buying process, but there is a sense of peace when the deal is closed. Satisfaction. Satisfaction shows up when you have some idea of what you want in a house and when you actually see that in the market. There are houses out there for you and you feel a sense of satisfaction knowing that the house that you want, there's actually a chance that you can get it. Now we go on to sadness. Heartbroken. It's usually when you lose out to someone else's offer for a home. It's one of the worst feelings during the process. Gloomy. If the process isn't going as you thought it would, doom and gloom sets in. This makes finding a home tough because you're in a negative state of mind. 3, disappointed. Disappointed. You're always looking for a house and you're not finding one. Disappointed that houses are so darn expensive. Disappointed that the process isn't going as smoothly as you thought. Hopeless. I have buyers who become hopeless. It's terribly destructive to the process because when you're hopeless, you don't do the things necessary to find yourself a house. Unhappy. You're going to be unhappy during the process. You may have a seller who's a jerk, a seller's agent who's a jerk. There may be a paperwork snafu. There's definitely going to be a time when you're unhappy. Lost. I definitely get a sense that some buyers feel lost. After all, the process is overwhelming, especially in this market. You're constantly competing with many other offers. Add to that, you may not know what part of town you want to live in, and your friends may be finding homes while you aren't. This can all lead to a sense of loss, just a loss of direction. Resigned. I don't necessarily look at being resigned as a bad thing. I've noticed some husbands just check out after about a month, and they look to their wives to just make a decision, any decision. Husbands are resigned to the search. Miserable. Buying a house can be a miserable experience. It's like you're not even a person, looking for houses, some of which you'd never buy, kind of like a trip to the dentist. And we have fear. So worried. There's a real fear that occurs that you may never find a house at all. Doubtful. I don't know that doubtful comes into play very often. There are other emotions that kind of cover doubtful. Nervous. It can be nerve-wracking to put all your financial documents out there for a pre-approval on a mortgage. Anxious. Anxious happens when you put that first offer in on a property and the acceptance time is 24 hours. Buyers tend to lose sleep and have their phone right next to them at all times. If I had trouble contacting someone before there's an offer written, I won't have any trouble now. Terrified. What are we doing? The first time home buyer putting in an offer for a home that's 2 or 3 times more than they make in a year. Panic. Panic usually comes in from signatures that have to be on time or documents that are missing that need to be filed. I do my best to be aware of important dates during the process so my buyers don't have to panic too often. Horrified. Walking through some of the houses where it looks like a murderer lived there. They are horrified that they chose such a terrible house to look at, but it's not their fault. Desperate. Desperation usually sets in when a buyer needs a house by a certain date, like their lease is ending. This causes bad decisions. Stressed. Buyers are stressed when they realize just how tough it is to get a house when the market is hot. All it takes is one other buyer who wants a house more than you, and you lose out. Anger. That is something that comes up. Annoyed. The home buying process can be annoying. Let's say you work all week and you're looking forward to the weekend, and now you're looking at houses all afternoon. It's annoying. Frustrated. Some buyers think they're going to go out like you would to the grocery store and just buy a box of cereal. It's not like that with a house, and as soon as they realize that, this causes frustration. Bitter. Losing out on an all-cash buyer makes buyers bitter. Like an all-cash offer will definitely make buyers bitter when they have a mortgage, because they're like, come on, when they have financing. Infuriated. Sometimes buyers get angry, especially if they feel like they're being treated unfairly by the sellers. Irritated. Sellers and their agents will do things that irritate buyers. One of those things is setting showing times that work for the sellers and not buyers. Another thing that happens is that sellers will write certain things in the house that can stay, but they are work to get rid of, so it's not like it was any benefit to the buyer. Paint usually falls in this category for some buyers. They don't want paint for touch-up because they're going to paint the house with other colors of their choosing. Mad. Buyers tend to get angry when things just aren't going right for them. It may be that they heard something incorrectly from their agent and acted on it. It may be that the agent didn't hear something that the buyer was trying to communicate, which resulted in an offer that didn't get the house that was desired. Cheated. Buyers will feel cheated if they buy a house and they find something wrong with the house that wasn't disclosed or wasn't found during the inspection process. Vengeful. Buyers don't forget how they were treated during the home buying process by the sellers typically. And when these buyers go to sell their house, they don't do the buyers any favors. Sellers can harbor ill will for many, many years. Insulted. Let's just say you put in an offer to buy a house for $650,000 that had an asking price of $625,000, and your agent doesn't get anything more than a text message or a group message that says something to the effect of, if you were the seller's choice, you wouldn't be getting the text. It's quite insulting. Disgust. This is the final one. So dislike. Buyers can tend to dislike the home buying process after they're in it for a few weeks. It's quite unnatural looking at other people's houses and trying to put yourself in them. Revulsion. When buyers see what they get for their money on the market, it's a feeling of revulsion. Everyone has in their heads that they're going to find this house for cheap, that no one else does. And then they realize that it isn't happening. Revulsion sets in. Loathing. Many home buyers loathe going to showings, especially open houses. It's odd and it's counterproductive, but it happens. Offended. I think buyers take offense if you talk down on them like they're stupid. They may be very intelligent people in their own fields of employment, but they don't get the real estate industry, and they get offended when it doesn't work like their own industry. Horrified. I think the first time something breaks in a house the new homeowner buys, there's just this fear. Did we do something wrong? How do we fix it? Will it get fixed at all? They're just like, oh my God, what do I do? Uncomfortable. I'm pretty sure that the home buying and home selling processes are designed to make everyone uncomfortable during the process. That's why I'm laughing at Zillow's efforts to make the house buying process go smoother. It doesn't go smoothly because the only way to get a deal done is through a give and take and making everyone uncomfortable. Aversion. This feeling happens when buyers lose out on the house. They aren't ready to go look for a new house, so they avoid the situation altogether. It's usually only temporary, maybe a week or two, and in that time, the perfect house could come to the market, but the buyers are no longer prepared to make an offer. So hopefully you can see the range of emotions buyers feel during the process. My goal here is just to make you aware of these emotions so you aren't surprised if you catch yourself feeling this way. And that's the truth. I mean, just a wide range of emotions. And some people say that you should always look to buy a house with logic, and that, no emotion, and that's going to get you the best deal. But I think it's impossible. In fact, as real estate agents, we have to kind of understand what our buyers are feeling, understand what our sellers have empathy for that, and then help them through that case. I cannot imagine if you were looking for a house and you had Spock as your agent. I mean, that would just be the worst thing ever. It'd be terrible. So emotion is a part of it. And when I was going through the list, it was just amazing how many different shades of emotion there are and that you can feel. And there's probably another 1,000 more. So anyway, that's what I have for you today. I thought it was an interesting exercise. Maybe it's not the best video. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening, and I'll catch you on the next one.